Good morning. Glad that you're up with us at 6 o'clock on your Friday morning. And we're giving you a beautiful look at Milan this morning. Obviously, they are a few hours ahead of us, 6 hours ahead, getting ready for the opening ceremony tonight. We're going to check back in with Anne Marie to get a fresh update on what's happening right now in the Olympic host country.
Yeah, welcome in here at 6 o'clock on your Friday. We're so glad you're with us. We've waited for this day, it seems like, for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Very excited about the opening ceremonies and talking, too, about how there really are almost going to be two, since there are two sites. So it'll be interesting to see how we pull all that together. And it looks like Italy's still getting better weather than we have here.
They have soaked up all the sunshine. They stole the sunshine from us over here. Today, we're talking about snow showers that are right at an inopportune time for us. Not heavy snow.
No.
It's just in rush hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Enough of a burst to maybe coat the roads at
Right.
the wrong time. That's the key part of this story. I was checking with Italian weather, and Milan's fine. I guess the mountains, though, have been getting it. They've been
Really?
getting the
Well,
snow,
I guess that's what
but-
you would
Which the
want.
athletes
That's just
for
what you
Olympics.
want. Yeah.
Yeah.
It even delayed some of the practices and different things
Okay.
because it was so snowy. Which,
Okay.
anyways, we've got our own snow to worry about though this morning. Not a winter storm, but it will be enough to cause headaches, I think, just later this morning. If you're headed out within the next hour, hour and a half, you're probably fine. But we do have some snow showers, even trying to get into Hamilton County. Now, a lot of this first is on the lighter side. It gets heavier up to the north. Not all of this is quite reaching the ground, but we do start picking up the snow for some of our northern counties. We're starting to get some of it into Miami County, Good Morning around Carroll and Cass counties, Tippecanoe County. We're starting to get some as well, but it definitely gets heavier farther to the north. That steadier snow has arrived in northern Indiana. Here's the timeline of what we're expecting. We're starting to see the snow chance increase, but a lot of us will be getting that snow 7 to really 8 and 9 o'clock. And then I think later into the morning, we'll start to finally wind things down for a break around lunchtime. Most of the snow's farther south near the Ohio River. So this is not a long-lasting event. The problem is if you get even a snowfall rate of 1 inch per hour and you get it for an hour or two, you know, after the first base kind of melts a little bit, but then starts accumulating, you're talking about a good dusting to 1 inch or so for many of us, especially east of Indianapolis. But I do think there'll be another round of scattered flurries coming up later this afternoon. So slick spots are going to be likely. If you are headed out here soon, you'll be fine. But it's that late morning commute, really 7:30, 8:30 when things can get tricky. Let's talk traffic this morning as you're headed out the door. I've got a few things pulled up for you. First, let's start with the road sensor map. You're starting to see snow-covered roads there in northern Indiana. Just some snow patches in north central Indiana, but this is what's headed our way. This is a live look in Chesterton along I-94. Notice the bridge is completely covered in snow and the interstate is starting to become covered too. Yes, it is warmer, so road treatment does work better, but eventually the snowfall rate will win, and we're starting to see the snow really stick to some of those roads there in northern Indiana. This is what it may look like here soon in the next 2 to 3 hours.
Matt, thank you. Well, this morning, authorities are confirming the remains found in Ohio are that of Hamilton County's Haley Busby.
The 17-year-old was reported missing from Fishers last month. An Ohio prosecutor now says that an official autopsy report does verify her identity. Her remains were found in Wayne National Forest in Perry County, Ohio. Well, police believe that Busby was killed at a short-term rental property in Hocking County. You can see by this map the relation to those areas here.
39-year-old Tyler Thomas, seen here in this police video, is charged in connection to her disappearance. He made this remote court appearance earlier this week. Investigators believe he met Busby online. They say Thomas led them to Haley's remains and confessed to burying them.
Now, right now, Thomas is not charged with killing Haley. His attorney says that Thomas will plead not guilty if prosecutors file any more counts. His next court date is scheduled for next Tuesday.
And this morning, we're also hearing from the Indiana House Speaker on the push to create what they're calling Haley's Law.
Haley's family is advocating for lawmakers to do something in the wake of the teen's death. They started a petition, and it calls for legislators to establish something called a pink alert system, that it would fill in what Haley's loved ones say are gaps in the way that alerts are filed in. That way that missing people and kids are covered when there are credible risks.
When Haley disappeared, Fishers police classified her disappearance as a runaway. Republican Speaker Todd Houston confirms Indiana lawmakers are working on some next steps.
We just want to make sure that in a case like this, if there's a way for make sure notification is done properly, we make sure it's done.
Governor Mike Braun also told 13 News that he's working with state police to identify solutions to the gaps in the missing person alert system, and he hopes that lawmakers can address the issue before the end of this session. It's 6:05. You could see more Central Indiana students hosting walkouts today in protest of the country's immigration policies.
So they're joining actually the hundreds that have done this all week in other places, but it has been met with punishment by some school districts. Anna Chalker is walking us through some of the biggest ones and what could continue today. Good morning.
Good morning, Lydia. So the most recent one happened at Avon High School yesterday, where hundreds of students were a part of that one. You see it here behind me as they're walking around the school, and it does look a little bit different from the ones that we've been to throughout the week. Like I said, the group stayed on campus, taking a lap around the school, pushing for the removal of federal agents from cities like Minneapolis. The students say they actually tried to do a walkout last week, but only a handful of them showed up. And they say seeing this large group now is something they didn't expect.
Everybody needs to understand how deep that this situation really is. Nobody's really grasping the gravity of this.
If you want to go out there and protest or try to stand up, absolutely do it. There's going to be others who support you. You're doing the right thing. You're on the right side of history.
The district tells us they gave parents and students an option for an excused absence for those who wanted to participate. And this is something we haven't seen on other protests at schools this week. Some, like Southport and Plainfield high schools, announcing suspensions of students who were a part of some of these walkouts. And these protests on both sides of this raising questions about First Amendment rights for students inside our schools. So we'll share the landmark case around this coming up, and also what some political science professors have to say about this and what kids can and cannot do in these schools.
All right, really glad, and I'm sure some of those teachers are, that the kids are just taking interest, getting involved in what's happening in the world. Thanks, Anna.
Well, a 16-year-old already charged with one murder is now suspected of shooting and killing another man, actually months earlier.
Yeah, this is a strange one. Dominique Sherman is currently charged with the November 8th murder of his barber, Stephen Coach. Well, the mother of Isaiah Booker reached out to us after seeing reports of Sherman's arrest.
She says that her son was killed at an apartment complex on the Far East Side, and the shooting is seen on surveillance video. Detectives have told her that Sherman is their suspect. 13 News can confirm that as well. So 13 News reached out to IMPD to see if a suspect in Booker's killing was in custody, and they sent us this statement.
The homicide investigation involving the victim, Isaiah Booker, remains an ongoing investigation. Someone knows something, and the IMPD urges anyone with knowledge of the events that led to the loss of Isaiah Booker's life to please come forward.
We are getting new details this morning surrounding the arrest of a sixth person and the attempted murder of a Tippecanoe County judge and his wife.
So one of the suspects, Thomas Moss, was actually out on bond at the time. He's now facing several violent felonies in a separate case.
So 2 days before he was set to go on trial in Judge Meyer's court, the judge and his wife were shot in their home. Court documents say another suspect, Raylan Ferguson, admitted to being the shooter. Ferguson told police that he thought Moss was going to spend the rest of his life in prison and wanted to give him more time with his son.
Court documents also say that Ferguson didn't want to be a part of the plan, but went through with it to clear his debt with Moss. Well, the wife of a Delaware County sheriff's deputy killed in a crash last November is now filing a wrongful death lawsuit.
That crash killed Corporal Blake Reynolds, who was out helping a stalled semi-truck on I-69 in Delaware County. Corporal Reynolds was investigating it after it lost control and left a trailer blocking the right northbound lane early that morning. And while he was investigating, a second semi that was going northbound crashed into his squad car, hitting and killing him.
This new complaint names 5 defendants, including both semi-drivers and their employers.
City leaders and environmental advocates want some more answers about the LEAP project, that could be sending millions of gallons of treated wastewater a day into the Eagle Creek Reservoir.
Last night during a Council Parks Committee meeting, Lebanon Utilities and Citizens Energy Group defended their plan. So under this agreement, Citizens Energy plans to transport water from several water sources in central Indiana to Lebanon Utilities, and then that will go to the LEAP district.
Once the water is used, Lebanon Utilities proposes returning much of it after treatment back into the Eagle Creek watershed. Wessler Engineering Senior Vice President talked about how that wastewater will be used.
All of this water being discharged is regulated by the Clean Water Act. This is a treated water discharge back into a water body. I'm quite sure that almost everyone in this room has seen this type of discharge, as this is very common throughout the state.
The council committee also says the focus right now is engaging conversations between the utilities and the community members voicing their concerns.
All right, well, as the Olympics start, popularity around a lot of winter sports grows, including a sport called curling. Our Marina Silva is at Holiday Park this morning with how that sport is growing.
Looks like a lot of fun. Good morning, Marina.
Good morning, ladies. Yes, curling is becoming a really popular around here in central Indiana as more kids and adults are wanting to play, especially with the Winter Olympics coming. I'm here with Chris Klein from Holiday Park, the rink manager. How are you this morning?
Doing well. How about you?
Great. So what are you seeing? You're here when you're seeing the kids and the adults playing. What do you see with popularity?
Yeah, it's growing. When we first offered this, it seemed to really kind of jump off the page a little bit more than what we expected. We sold out very quickly. We expanded on hours, and then we sold out quickly within that too. So the demand's there. We're starting to recognize that, and we're going to continue to evolve and grow it.
And one of the things you're responsible for is making sure the ice is ready. You know, they have flat shoes on. They're using brooms.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, dress warm. And that has a lot to do with it. We've got a great staff, and where we can make sure that this ice is in good condition. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to the weather, because that definitely has a lot to do with it. So using the Zamboni the right ways and make sure it's a clean, safe, slow surface.
And is it different than hockey?
Oh yeah, it's definitely different. And we don't want to make it too slick, because then it's a little dangerous. So there is a balance to try and find. So and that's what we seem to be kind of hitting right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And here at Holiday Park, they're actually going to be showing the Winter Olympics. And with all the games going on. So if you're here, you'll actually get to see the Winter Olympics and the games on throughout the Winter Olympics. So we'll send it back to you guys in studio.
It's a nice little backdrop to have there. Thank you, Marina.
And we're going to have even prettier backdrop as winter blows in once again here right during rush hour. Good morning.
It's going to look like our own Winter Olympics, unfortunately, but this is what it looks like in LaPorte, Indiana. That's northern Indiana, but this is what our roads will likely look like later this morning. We're dry for now, but when you expand the view, snow is arriving in northern Indiana. It will be here soon. We're going to have that timeline for you next.
Want to give you another live look in Milan, Italy this morning, where the Winter Games will get underway today.
So coming up, we are taking you inside the San Siro Stadium, where the opening ceremony is happening soon. Plus, we've got more details about the performances.